Man, this is the weekly tap in, and I'm tapping in. What's popping, you guys? Spring break is over. Make sure you guys, this your first time tapping in. Shout out your city where you're tapping in from. Please do so. If you tapped in before, welcome back. We certainly appreciate you. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, man. I always discover some things whenever I'm like even talking about just continuing on with the Will Smith thing, like what Denzel said in terms of just that whole God thing, man. That stuff is real, man. When the enemy approaches, when you on your game, prepare yourself, man. And those who've been there, those who've experienced that battle with that enemy on a regular basis, you understand what I'm talking about. Those who haven't, prepare yourself. But man, it's been a great week. Really productive. Just got out. What's going on, man? What's up, Lunch Mom? I see you, homie. Um, just got out of class, and just what I want to do every week is just kind of talk to you guys about what I taught first, so that you have an interest in that, you can pursue it a little further. So in one of the classes, I teach retail. In that class, we talked about logistics and supply chain. So we talked about the importance of truck drivers and how they play a part in that whole system. The importance of distribution centers and fulfillment centers and how they play a part in retail and technology. So we talked about that and artificial intelligence. Even one interesting little note is I was reading about camera intelligence, right, and camera technology and how that's going to play a part. So even from a fast food standpoint, one cat was talking about he was getting ready to implement AI and camera systems so that he can get the accuracy of an order, right? So when you start thinking about things like that, that's what I'm talking to my students about. In the other class, which is a web analytics and digital marketing class. What's going on, Samuel? I see you, homeboy. Is a digital marketing and web analytics class. We were talking about keyword mapping and on-page SEO optimization. And what keyword mapping is, it's basically looking at each one of your web pages if you have a website and strategically looking at what you want that page, not your entire website, but what that particular page you want to rank, how you want it to rank, right? And then what you want it to be discovered for. So for instance, if you have, in our case, we sell hair weaves. We want to be discovered for that. So you strategically place keywords throughout your web page so that you're discoverable, and so that search engines like Bing and obviously the behemoth Google can find you. And we were talking about that. What else were we talking about in that class? And a lot of these things I can, and I say God's got a funny sense of humor because he'll take you through education. Like I got my degree or whatever. What's up, Tanisha? I got my degree, but what he did was he said, well, you're going to teach as well and you're going to learn it again. And everything that I'm teaching right now, I needed to learn. So I teach consumer behavior, I teach social media marketing, I teach retail, teach web analytics, I teach content marketing, and e-commerce. So all these things are helping me in my own business. So that's the thing about God is like, he's a trip because if you pay attention and you use it the right way, man, he'll give you exactly what you need, which is leading me to what the topic of today is, custom blessings, right? Things that are specifically for you. And when I talk about some of the things that are going on in my life, these are my custom blessings, right? So one of the things that I try to stress to people is don't expect everybody to understand your blessing language, right? And what that means is something that may be, amazing to you, something that you discovered this week or whatever the case on your path to discovery. Like I discovered a book about the origin of fried chicken, right? Just by listening to one book and I bought like 3 books over the spring break. I've been on spring break, so I bought a bunch of books and I've been listening to stuff and discovering all kind of things. Anyways, I was reading this book, listening to this book on the origins of food like sushi, and it got on the fried chicken, and it put me on to this other book called I Built This House on Chicken Legs. Or this house is built on chicken legs or something like that. And it talks about these these black women entrepreneurs back in the day, which were called waiter carriers. And it's post slavery, it's post Civil War, and black folks had to hustle. And one of the things that was interesting about them is that whenever a train would stop through their town, they would come up there and they would have baskets of chicken and biscuits and other stuff and would sell that. So they was like the original chicken hustlers. And I discovered that this week, and I share with certain people, and not everybody's excited as I am. Why? Because they're not planning to do a chicken franchise. One, so don't expect people to share in your glory, right? Just because something that seems like a treasure to you may not be shit to somebody else, and that's okay, right? But just like me, you often want to share your aspirations, your goals, and all that stuff with somebody because you want people to feel the same excitement that you do. And one of the most dangerous things that happens is you share it with them, and they don't share that same excitement or feeling that you do, and you feed off that energy, right? You often you for the most part we feeding off of someone else's energy, and that's crazy. So I've shared that with somebody, and they was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." I'm like, "No, this is fantastic." We're looking at the origins of what we're doing as a brand, right? And the more we can understand where we come from and that story that we can tell, now we're telling brand stories. I always tell people all the time, don't ever build a business, man. Build a brand first. Everybody's building businesses. Everybody, oh, I got a clothing shop. What is it though? Is it a brand? Do you have specific colors? Do you have a logo? Do you have a saying? Do you have a standard? What is it about you? So that's the thing about me. So I'm looking at the vision from a completely different perspective than anybody else that I know of, right? I'm looking at it from a long term. I don't expect people to share my glory, right? I don't expect people to get happy and excited when you discover books. I discovered 4 books this I think it was 4. Yeah, something like 4. Figured out the origin of sushi, why sushi is what it is, and just realized that it's not about the rice. I mean, not about the fish, it's about the rice. Like different discovery. I get excited about that kind of stuff. I'm a historian, right? In by nature. But a hustler by design, right? So I love the fact that I can learn about the history of things. So I read a lot. I just also discovered a book called, and I told you guys about that last week. That was talking about what is the book title? I'm drawing a blank now. The Courage to Be Disliked, and it talked about how we need to get away from competition. Right, that's the thing that really deprives us of true happiness, right? Because we're fine in our shell, right, in who we are, right? But it's when we start to look at other people is when we start to feel inferior. So if we take that same concept, apply it to today's lesson, which are custom blessings, we understand that that blessing works for them, right? So when you see someone else getting blessed, I know it takes a lot not to get salty, right? Because the first thing we're doing is comparing. If we don't compare, like say for instance, we were a zillionaire, right? No matter what somebody else have, we'd be happy for them. Why? Because we're straight, right? It to a certain degree, right? Because a lot of times we think that money can buy happiness. Now I've seen a bunch of miserable rich people who consistently buy things that think they're going to add to their happiness. The more they buy, the more miserable they are. So money doesn't equate to happiness. It's in the sense of being okay with who God designed you to be. When we look to the left and to the right, when we go to the gym, right? We let me go to the gym. We look and see somebody next to us. We was cool before we got there. We was in good shape. Da, 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 da. Then we see He-Man walk upon us. We're like, damn, makes us reassess our current position. And it again, that's who they are, right? We got to understand that what's coming for us is coming for us. Our blessings are customized for us, right? We may not get a thrill in that sense, but we may elevate in another area, right? So we may not be designed because some of that stuff is DNA, man. You just may not be designed that way. But I'm going to bless you in this other sense, right? I got a custom blessing for you, right? I understand your situation. I understand who you are. I understand what you need. I understand before you even need what you think you need, I know about it. Giving you a custom blessing. So you got to understand, be patient. Quit looking to the left and to the right, man. This is a race. I tell people all the time, man, act like a horse. Put those things, what are they called? Blinders or whatever, put them on. You have to put them on. You're racing against yourself. What was your last time? What did you do last? right? If I start comparing myself to what these other cats are doing, man, I'll lose focus of what I was my best time. I'll lose focus of my training, what I'm supposed to be doing. I can't focus on what other people are doing. I got to change that, man. And that book helped me, right? The courage to be disliked and not really follow a model. Man, I gotta nah, man. I'm not following what everybody's doing and saying this. And if I can't get that now, I'm miserable. Right? Oh, everybody's buying houses, everybody's doing this, everybody. Wait your turn. Your turn is coming. Be patient with the process. God got you. Never left anybody hanging. He's giving me everything that I've wanted. Literally everything. I haven't asked for some of the other stuff. I just haven't. But everything that I wanted, I just had to look back and take a step back and do inventory. And got it. All of it. Everything. Right? So that's what I'm saying. He's in the blessing business and he's still going to bless you, but yours is going to be custom. It's not going to look like his or hers. It's not going to be like this other cat's. It's not going to look like this other person who you think you're similar to. Right? We can't go into blessings together. Let's coexist in terms of blessing. That doesn't happen. Right? I mean, if we're married, okay, cool. You know what I mean? But I still have my aspirations. You still have yours, and we'll do some things together. Right? But what I get blessed with and what I see as a blessing for me may not work for my wife. And vice versa. She may see something that didn't, I don't know. But we have to understand that what's for her is for her. So that blessing very well may work for her. Now I got to look for mine. There's no competition, though. That's one thing I want to get clear. No competition. You're not competing against anyone. Your blessing is yours, right? There's no race, man. Time is a man's construct, right? You got to do this by this specific time, man. I just did a post that said the average successful startup is started up by somebody 45 years old. But let the news and letting everybody else tell it some young 20-year-old college dropout who have better things to do than go to college. You'll just start a $1 billion company. Those are anomalies, right? Those don't happen every day. So we can't look at those statistics and say, why is that not happening to me? Because that's the first thing we're going to do is say, where mine at, dog? He get his, you start, that's the news. And more importantly, that's the enemy. The enemy wants you distracted in conflict and competition. He wants you trying to do all, tap in with God and you go miles ahead, man, before you know it in front of their eyes. And it's not even a matter of showing out in front of anybody, because if you make it that, now you're doing some stuff that has to do with ego, right? When you're putting in, let me show them out. You ain't showing nobody shit. You don't have to. What do you need to show them for? What do you need to put it in front of their face for? Now your intentions are starting to get messed up. And when your intentions start to get messed up, right? So you missing the point now, right? Because even if you're doing something positive, if you got ill intent from the start, that's not going to work. If you're doing it to show somebody out, I'm going to get a better body to show out my ex. Man, why not get a better body because you wanted a better body? Why not get that because you wanted it? You dig? What's up, John? I see you, homeboy. You know what I mean? Why not do things because you got that initiative, not because this person did this? And then you mad because you don't get it. God ain't going to give you no copycat blessing. He ain't going to give you the same thing such and such has. He going to give you what you need. They'll get theirs, but he's going to give you what you need. It ain't going to look like theirs. It ain't going to look anything like theirs. Right? So don't get it twisted. What you need to be, all the thing you need to understand is, like, when the ice maker, as long as the ice maker's still working, you're going to get a cup full too. Don't trip, right? You can't look, man, you got a cup full of ice. Your turn's coming, dog. As long as the ice maker's still working. So as long as I know this cat got a cup full of ice, I know they're still being blessed. I know there's still ice being made. I know there's still being miracles being made. So as long as I see cats getting theirs, man, just be cool. Man, don't block your blessings by hating on somebody. Don't block your blessings by being envious, by speaking negative against someone. And you don't even have to say anything. It can be that internal feeling, because that's the thermostat that God uses. That's it. Your internal thoughts, the things that nobody else sees. What am I really thinking about this cat? Right? Am I liking this cat? Right? I see him in traffic, or I see him, oh man, I ain't gonna say nothing. But that's the equivalent to hating as well. And God knows what you really feel inside, which is why your blessings are taking so long to get to you. So if you haven't and you still got some salt in your gut and you feeling kind of froggy about something, get that out your system. Get that hate out your heart. So I know it's difficult, especially when it's ugly for you. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. When it's ugly, homie, sometimes that's when the enemy works us the best. Right? When it's ugly, get grimy. Man, then he don't have to do no work. Right? He get you do the work. He ain't got to do none. You start thinking, because our thoughts are energy, right? Our thoughts, our words are even more powerful. We get to speaking negative about somebody else's blessing. How we gonna get ours? How? Right? Ours isn't coming. We want people praying for us. We want people speaking life into us. Right? And I know, like I said, I get it. You know what I mean? I've been on the other side of the fence where I've been salty. And it's not because I didn't really wish that somebody else succeeded. It's because my current position wasn't the way I wanted it. Had nothing to do with anybody else. Taking it back to the Four Agreements, right? Don Miguel Ruiz, one of the best books I've ever read, right? Don't take anything personal. One of the best chapters, right? Because it talked about a few stories in there. If we're millionaires, and I used that example earlier in the talk, right? If we're millionaires, billionaire, we got all this stuff, man. Things become a lot easier. Things don't bother us as much. Oh man, I ain't tripping. Oh man, that's nice. All right, we flat broke. We may have a different stance on that, and that's subjective, right? So you can't take it personal, right? So I wouldn't take a compliment or an insult personal. Why? Because it ain't got shit to do with me, right? That's the only thing I need to do is keep that to myself, man. Go ahead. I'm not taking it either way, right? Because then I'm feeding into the ego. And a lot of times when you start to feed into ego, the enemy can sneak in and have you drifting off, right? I think it used an example. It might not have been that book, but it was another book where it convinced the guy, fed into the ego of all these girls talking about he can sing. Politician. Oh my God, your voice is so amazing. Convinced his ass to quit being a politician, became a singer, got broke. Listening to people, right? So you got to be careful with that. People tell you good. I mean, same thing with the podcast. We got a gang of listens just recently. I don't know if it was the Will Smith conversation, but our numbers went crazy. I'm not paying attention to that. That could be a random occurrence. It could be finally people catching on. I have no idea, but I'm gonna keep it consistent. I'm gonna not let my ego. Oh man, we got to do this now. No. Ceteris paribus, right? Keep it the simple. Keep it the same, right? The message is obviously resonating with certain people. I'm not expecting everybody to jump on board. If everybody jumps on board, then I'm doing something wrong, because this podcast isn't for everybody. These are some difficult things that make you come to terms with that you got to deal with. It's mainly an internal flow though, right? It's mainly how we feel about ourselves and our conversations that we have with ourselves is what I'm talking about. In addition to that, it's about leaving a legacy. What else are we doing? So we have some main points that we focus on, and we understand this isn't for everybody. And I'm cool with that, right? I'm not Kevin Samuels. I'm not talking about relationship shit on here. That's just not what this podcast is about. This podcast is if you want to feel good, you want to go out there and kick the earth, see if you can't put a dent in the universe. That's what I hope that you take away from this podcast. When you listen, I want you to be heard. I want you to feel like you can go tackle the world. I want you to feel like entrepreneurship is part of your DNA, period. Because it is. This is why I'm learning about the history of what slaves, right? So in that book, it talked about slaves actually selling stuff to other masters, right? So people from this plantation, they harvested eggs and wheat. They would sell it to another plantation. So we've been, contrary to what the story that they tell you, that we just been with our hand out, we've been hustling. We've been selling wings and gizzards. I posted on my Facebook, wings, gizzards, and backs. That's why we grew up on that shit. I was wondering why my grandmother, what we get these backs and gizzards and necks and hearts or this is slave stuff, right? This is what we had. This is what we used to get off. That's why it's so good. And that's why you don't see Popeye selling none of it, because that's not part of their DNA. We selling gizzards, period. That's what we do. That's what we grew up on. That's what the waiter carriers were doing. So I'm paying homage. We building that brand around that, right? That story, paying homage to the originators who started this stuff. Man, got this fried chicken stuff started, and it didn't look nothing like that stuff, right? So that's what I'm interested in right now. And I want you guys to believe that you can do it too. Entrepreneurship, let's get technical with it. Doesn't matter. We can talk LLC, sole proprietorship, S corps, whatever you want to do. And if we don't know, we can research together. That's the beauty in it right now, right? If you don't know, that should be a temporary moment. That shouldn't last that long, right? Don't know shouldn't last longer than an hour. I don't know, man. I wonder. Shit. If you don't have time to get to Google, do it on the way. Ask whatever voice activation. But at this stage of the game, there shouldn't be I don't knows. I'm not accepting that right now. I don't know, man. You serious? You got a phone? Okay, we'll find out, killer. Don't just sit there and assume or talk to somebody who doesn't have a phone or won't pull it out. It won't take out the time to actually pull out the phone and actually try. That's what we got to get more of. We got to get away from this I can't stuff, right? They put these things in our heads that we can't, we need help, we need this. If I would, and that's another thing that book talks about, the courage to be disliked. It talks about how sometimes we wish we were born. I wish I was born. I wish I was Mark Zuckerberg. My dad was a dentist. And man, shit, you don't know how that is. You wish, man. The butterfly effect. Watch that movie, right? And you'll be glad that where you are, because this is what fate has you. And it's not about what you had or what type of tools or what type of mom or dad you had and they was loving you and speaking life into you. And who cares? That's not that what they call it. I think it was called they called it something, but it was a term where you're relying, you're giving a cause to your result. I can't forget. It was a word that started with an E. But when you're giving call because I'm from South Central, I can't come in because I can't do this. Man, excuses are tools for the incompetent, dog. Period. Quit using them. Get rid of them. Burn your tool shed down if it's a bunch of fucking excuses, because we don't have time for them, homie. We're defying odds and kicking down doors and creating history on a daily basis, whether they like it or believe it or not. You understand what I'm saying? No limit, no limit besides the one you put on yourself. And who are you competing with when you're one of a kind? How is that possible that I have competition when God only built one? Tell me about it. Right? So why am I looking to this dude or to this dude? Man, you may win at what you're good at. But as soon as I figure out what I'm supposed to do in this universe, there's nobody else that can do it better. And that's the key. Once we align with our purpose, our passion, whatever that is, and a lot of times we have to keep bumping our head to figure out what the fuck is this? That's why I'm doing so many different hustles. I'm in 4 or 5 dice games, homie, betting on myself. You'll constantly hear me say that. I'm in 4 or 5 dice games, betting on myself, and I got side bets betting on me. I'm putting my money all on myself. I ain't putting it on somebody else to determine whether they feel like promoting me or not. I get it. We got to have jobs. I understand that, but that's paid training. Play the game right. You understand? Work the benefits. See if you can't get some college about that ass. Whatever it is, send you to a conference. Milk the shit. This is training. I need to train for my business, for the legacy I'm about to build for my kids, period. Right? I'm leaving stuff for them. Tabasco style. Understand? What we building, and this is why I watch The Food That Built America, because I watch all stuff and get inspired. Oh, they started like this. They had humble beginnings. Oh, they messed up. They burnt this, that. Man, we doing all that shit. Spoiled the things, man, all that. Part of the process. Am I looking to the left and to the right? Absolutely not. Took me a long time to train myself. Don't get me wrong. It takes a long time to train yourself not to look to the left or to the right. But once you understand, again, you're one of a kind. God broke the mold. There's not 2 of you. So there's not 2 paths. There's not something, hey, man, hey, I built a better model of you, dog. You should look at him. That's not how God plays the game. You know what I'm saying? He didn't build a better model. You're it. But you got to get your Tesla on where you got to keep your upgrades up, right? You got your software need to be updated, homie. And most of these cats got outdated software. For real. Outdated software. And it's like, homie, hey, God gave you the recipe, gave you everything that you need, everything, your height, your hair color. You don't need anything else. He gave you everything you need to succeed. And if he hasn't given it to you yet, it's on the way. It's on the way. Don't trip. It's on the way. Coming custom for you in your custom box directly to you. You ain't got to strive. You don't have to do any of that for it. When it's for you to come, you be like, damn, I was just, I remember the other day, I thought my son up, my oldest son. He came through the door. I said, man, I keep telling cats, man, I got that power. Boom, 5 minutes. He was here. Believe it or not, that's up to you. That's entirely up to you. You understand what I'm saying? Whether you believe it or not, because if you do or you don't, you're right. Right? So belief is everything, right? Faith is everything. Prayer is everything. You have to use it, homie. You understand? You have to use it. And if not, what? You doomed. You're not going to get far. Reality ain't shit, man. I just bought a book on that unrealistic faith. Or I think it's unrealistic. Is it unrealistic faith? Something like that. Unrealistic faith. Unrealistic. Because what is realistic? Shout out to Will Smith, man. I don't know what he did, but watch his interview with Tavis Smiley. You want something good? Will Smith interview with Tavis Smiley. Gas, promise you. And he talks about what is realistic. Man, what is realistic? It's a man construct. And a limited ass man construct, right? You need to be more realistic. I remember Tick told me that buying a house. You got to be more realistic. Man, you don't know what my limits are. You ain't God. You don't have any idea what I can and can't do. You dig? Impossible. You dig? And that's the thing, right? We got to have that unwavering faith. And it's going to get tested. Don't get me wrong. It's going to get tested. The closer you get, the higher. Man, listen. It's going to break you down. It may. Especially if you have a really novel goal where you're really going to change some stuff. It's going to change you. I promise you that. I thought my light was down. So we got to get busy, homies, home girls, little homies, young homies. We got to quit playing around here. Cats are building businesses, man. We ain't believing that story that they told us that we can't. Man, you guys aren't hard workers. We used to work our asses off. We would go out there and kill chickens and hogs and shit for them, strip it, clean it, do all that stuff, and they wouldn't give us shit. So don't talk to me about hard work. I don't want to hear that. But what we need to do now is understand that we've been merchants, right? Other cultures, they understand their history in terms of merchant. Asian, Latino, Spain, all that stuff, they understand their history as merchants. We need to understand ours. We have a rich, deep history. We got to read more. You guys got to pick up them books. Everything is in the books. Everything, right? Inspiration, ideas, verifications, justifications, all these things are in the books. And I get it, right? We don't like to read. So what? Then listen. I learned about, like I said, I learned about sushi. I learned about the origins of buffalo wings, the controversy. I knew about, like, we started that too, right? Y'all know that in Buffalo, the actual original buffalo wings was made with mambo sauce. So be a historian, know your shit, right? If I'm gonna get into the chicken business, I need to know my shit. Period. What does everything entails, man? I'm on Colonel Sanders' asses. Period, homie. You dig? We already hooked up we got proprietary blend for our flour, gang of herbs and spices. He got 11. We got a little bit more. But I'm challenging it. I'm not competing with him. No, I'm whatever with him, right? We in our own lane. We got gizzards. We're doing something ourselves, right? 100%. No competition. I see it, man. It doesn't exist. Not with me, right? And you got to do the same thing if you want to. Now, you can go ahead and live a life depending on that entirely up to you. You can live a life where you don't do much, where you say, you know what, I just want to do this, and that's fine. I'm not hating on that, and I'm saying that you got to go outside your comfort zone. But in order to reach the heights that you want to reach, in order to go to places that you want, you're gonna have to take that leap. Like Steve Harvey said, you got to take the leap and take it and feel no fear, right? But it's gonna be scary. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's gonna be scary. But the more technical, the more research that you do, the more you understand the way business operates, the more you understand what things cost. I just did an example with my students. We were looking at restaurant equipment, right? We went on Alibaba and I showed them, man, go look at it. They even had a brewery set up. Costs 45 bands. So somebody got 45,000, you could essentially set up a brewery. You get the licensing, you get the equipment, they'll mail the equipment here, you get a master, you might get you a brew popper. 45 bands though to get the thing, right? So, but at least you got a ticket, you got a number to aspire to achieve. At least you got something to look after, right? Okay, well, I know if I get 100, I know I can go buy the brewery thing for 45, and I can spend this on the building. I can hire a brewmaster. I get the packaging done. My 100 grand gonna get me a beer company, and start to set that goal. I looked at my goals. I looked at them goals literally every day since we started, which was in January this year. It's 4-4. We got almost 600 subscribers on YouTube, which our goal was 1,000. We're in our 4th month and we're almost over halfway there. Right? We wanted to increase the hair business by 10%. We're getting calls and sales literally every day. So when you put this stuff in action, meaning that you write it down and you see it every day, you look at it, there's some magic that happens. And I told you guys, I don't know what it is, but the magic happens, man. And next thing you know, these goals start to get accomplished. Boom, boom, boom. I said I wanted to read 3 books a month. Boom, boom, boom. You get the suggestions out of nowhere. Boom, boom, boom. Ask for it. What you waiting on, right? Don't ask for it on no desperate shit, because God don't like desperate cats, right? We had a whole conversation about that. He ain't looking for the desperate. He's looking for the people who convinced that you're going to get it. I don't need to keep asking. You know how your kids keep asking you, can I get a popsicle? You're like, yeah, all right, give me 5 minutes. Then they ask you again in 3 minutes, can I get a popsicle? Oh, you didn't believe me? Right? But that one kid that says you get a popsicle and doesn't ask you again, you looking for an opportunity. Matter of fact, since you didn't ask me, here you go. Because I don't want to be sweated. And that's how God is. He don't want to be sweated. Don't be sweating me, homie. I'm in the miracle business, man. I'm juggling miracles, preventing wars, catastrophes. I got my hands full, man. And I told you I'd get to you. Matter of fact, you ain't even ready for this blessing. You think you ready. You done told everybody you ready, but you ain't ready for this blessing, man. I bless you with this, man. You're going to lose your damn mind and mess it all up. So why don't you sit tight? I got 2 more lessons for you. They're on the way. Yes, they're on the way. What do they look like? Why don't you calm your ass down and wait for them to get there? You'll know when they get there. Pass, because the last 2 times I gave you these same 2 exact tests, you didn't pass. So pass this test, these 2, I'll get back to you. Man, I'm busy. It's that simple. And most of the time, we here comes the test. We know it's the exam. What do? Fail again. Why my blessing taking so long? Man, you ain't qualified. You ain't ready, homie. If he gives you that, right? You ain't gonna know. You remember that girl, man? She gives you that, it's a wrap. Yes. Right? You don't want this. That's how God, like, man, you ain't ready. You think you ready. Everybody talks about, I need 20, 30 million. Man, you think really? You seen how cats act over 100 racks. They asking you to borrow. What you think 25 million gonna do? Right? And if you ain't mentally ready for it, you ain't set up properly for it, man, you're gonna fail tremendously. And God knows that. So he's not gonna give you something that you're not prepared to handle. Positive, negative, blessing or not. He ain't giving it to you. He don't want to see you, 1, mess up the blessing, and 2, you don't want to keep repeating the same thing. He want to excel you, man. I got different levels of blessings for you. Once you get to this, once you pass this level, I got a different one. It elevates. Once you get over here, I got another one for you for that. Right? So he wants you to pass so you get different. I remember when it was a blessing just to get the acceptance letter to college. I prayed for that. Oh, man, I can't. Look, I got the acceptance letter. That was during that time, but now I got different kind of aspirations. Right now, I'm looking for plans. All right, I'm watching how people build restaurants. So now that's going to be it. Once we get the build out, and I see them putting the poles and stuff up and the walls, that's going to be a different level of excitement and blessing for me at that time. So I got to keep graduating, right? But I'm not ready yet. If I was ready, I would have it. There wouldn't be nothing, no effort, no nothing. If I was ready for it, I'd have it. And we have to understand that about the blessings. They're custom, they're for us. And when we're ready, we will have them. They're not for they don't fit anybody else. Right? That's just like getting a custom suit, man. You thinking somebody gonna go pick it up and put it on when you the only one that size, right? You the only one got shoulders that size. You the only one. It's a custom fit. There's nobody else built like you. You design yourself. So how's that possible? Did you duplicate yourself? Huh? Right. So if you design yourself and nobody built like you, right? So why are you worried about it? Whenever it gets here, it's for you anyways, right? Or your kids or your grandkids, which is fine as well. The legacy continues. But we can't trip when other people are getting blessed and think that somehow we're going to miss the blessing boat. Somehow it's not going to pull over. Somehow Amazon going to keep it pushing and send us a notification talking about nobody answered the door, right? Oh, God slipped. Oh, man, ain't nobody answered the door. So I'm going to keep it pushing. Man, come on. Yours is coming the day you need it, when you're supposed to have it, and exactly what you've been looking for, right? And it may not look like what you think that you wanted, right? Because a lot of times this is what happens with relationships. We throw them away. We throw people away because we think they're not going to be what we think they're going to be, right? And we got to give things time. People take time. Quit throwing people away so fast. I see so many people breaking up, divorce here. Like, man, damn, you throwing each other away. Y'all ain't giving each other time, right? Or didn't do the research prior to that. But things take time. Relationships, man, opposites usually attract, and you got to figure out how to work together. But don't give up, right? Custom blessings, period. Let's stick with ours. Let's focus on them. But we got to bring it out. What do we want, right? If we following everybody else, then how we gonna get a custom blessing? If we following what this fool's doing, oh, I'm gonna get the exact same thing. I want what you got, man. Come on, guys. Like, really? I just gave him that. You want the same thing? Yeah, I want the same exact thing. Well, I don't make two. You gonna have to figure out something else, homie. You gonna have to ask for something different because I don't make two of these. Nah. Now I got your blessing, man. It got, it's different flavor, slightly different. Might be a little similar, but it ain't the same thing. Not the same thing. We have to get that through our head, right? That ours is coming when it's supposed to come. Quit being impatient. Quit trying to take shortcuts. Quit talking to people who told you that it can't be done. That's another thing. Quit talking to the naysayers, homie. And there's a bunch of them out there, right, that'll discourage you, right? And it's not their fault. A lot of times it's the enemy just trying to work through people. So you got to understand that portion too. It's not their fault. But one thing the enemy can't touch is a custom blessing. He can't touch it at all. So you got to have your arms open. You can't have your hands full, right? I used to talk to my mom about that all the time. We used to joke all the time. I said, Mom, you always got your hands full. I say, I can't give you nothing. And I was like, that's pretty profound. If you got your hands full with bullshit, how can you get a blessing? So sometimes you got to make sure that your hands are available, right? Available to get your and receive your blessings. So you got to get out there and move, right? You can't be tied up with stuff that's not going to get you to where you need to be in life. Man, I'm tied up at this job for 10, 12, and I hate it. I don't have any time to think, okay, well, you got to figure that out. Because God may be wanting you to walk away from that, to have that faith. I'm not saying quit your job. Now, do not do that, because I don't want you to do that. But I want you to also make a plan towards your destiny, though. This isn't life 2.0, 2.5. You get second chances. We got a cheat code. We get infinity lives. This is not how it works. We get one, right? So we have one opportunity to do that. So what I wanted to do was share with you guys some of the couple of books that I bought. So let me go to my Kindle Cloud Reader so I can show you that book. So you guys, one of the things about me is the more God gives me, the more I give away. Therefore, He gives me more. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, especially to people who are considered takers, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you give away what you have to, right? And that's the same thing what I'm saying about your hands being full. When you hoard information, you hoard blessings, your hands are full. If you think that that's going to be your last blessing, then you'll continue to hoard it and protect it as if it's the last. But if you know that God's going to give you bigger and better, you might as well get that out your hands so that you can receive what God's getting ready to give you, right? Which is a larger blessing. But don't keep your hands full with a bunch of small shit that don't matter. because if you do that, then you will miss your blessing. So let me show you guys a couple of things in terms of the cloud reader. I mean, what I haven't, I just bought that book, and then let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Oh, and I'll show you that book, The Unrealistic Faith thing, too. So try to put you guys up on a few books at least. Let's see. All right, here we go. All righty. So let me put this in the stream so you guys can see that. You can see some of the things that I'm interested in anyway, right? So up in that top left, um, this is building house on chicken legs, right? So this talks about the history of fried chicken and how and why it was so important to us in terms of legacy. And then this says get unrealistic. This is about unrealistic faith. Why is my battery running low? I knew that was something. Hold on one second. Why my battery's running low? I don't know why this is. All righty. Sorry about that. But you can see right here as well. I got a few different in there, but the unrealistic, getting unrealistic about radical faith. It's more religious based, which is I'm like, kind of trying to get away from a little bit. But this is the building a house on chicken legs. So this talks about Black women, food, and power. It's really dope. It's really amazing. This is just talks about just how they were trading with some of the slave traders, and this is some of the older pictures. And so those who are listening, you probably can't see it, but so this is and some of the more I would say stereotypical type pictures as well. So that's that. Really good books. And then let me show you one more in the Audible. And that book was the book. I got a couple books on there. Let's see. Let me share this with you guys. Close this. Let me share. And this was the book that I bought on the Food Americana and the Courage to be Disliked. Still, I listened to a little bit of Audacity to Be You. I'll get back to you on that as well and let you guys know about that. But these two right here, this is my second time listening to it this week. So the Courage to Be Disliked, how to free yourself, change your life, and achieve happiness. And then Food Americana. So it talks about everything on here, Mexican food, where it came from, Chile, like the origins of it, Spanish, and how they contributed, but just gives the origin of food. And I want to be knowledgeable, right? So if we're having interviews and we're talking to people about our food, that I'm knowledgeable about it, right? And the whole process. Oh, did I not show that to you? Hold on. So, sorry, here it goes. Let me get rid of this one. There it goes. Sorry. So the Food Americana is the one at the top. And then you have the Courage to Be Disliked. Both really good books. I have them on Audible. I invest in this, man. This is something that's important to me. It's something that I think is important to enhancing who you are as a person, enhancing your hustle, learning. It's an investment. We invest in beer, we invest in cigarettes, we invest in blunts, weed, we invest in all type of stuff. Why don't we invest in books? Do it first before we do the other stuff. I'm not saying don't do the other stuff. I'm not telling you that. But what I am telling you is do this first. Invest in yourself first, right? If you force yourself to read 2 or 3 books a month, you're going to be eons in front of all your competitors if you want to compete. Other than that, there's no competition. That will conclude our weekly tap in for this week. Certainly appreciate you guys joining us. As always, if you haven't hit the subscription button, please hit the subscription button. Share, leave us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate it. I know it takes a lot to leave a review, but they matter so much and they take us so far in the rankings and in consideration and also discovery. So if you're so kind, please do so. If not, Don't trip. Join us. Share with somebody who needs this. And we'll see you next week. Tapping out.